accident, you need a lawyer, and you deserve an advocate. Because every accident has a ripple effect. It affects your time, your health, your ability to make money, everything. That's where the advocates can help. Speaking with an attorney is simple and 100% free. We're available 24/7 for your convenience, and we'll take on the claims process so you can rest easy. Because you're not just a client to us, you're a person, and you deserve the best help you can get. You deserve an advocate.
This is The Monty Show, the truth in sports talk streaming. When you want unbiased opinions about your favorite team without the spin, all you have to do is find The Monty Show, streaming live and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on YouTube. And now, here's Monty.
Hey, The Monty Show live on your YouTube machine. Monday, February 24th, 2025. As always, we are presented by The Advocates at theadvocates.com. The best injury attorneys in the business, you guys. I saw it all weekend long. Accidents abound. How about this one? And I hadn't heard this one before. A cement mixer not paying attention, and he drove his cement truck through the back of a stopped car on the freeway. Other than that, it was a fine trip home. You got to call the Advocates, man, because their insurance company and your insurance company are not looking to pay out the most possible. No, they're looking to pay you the least. The Advocates know how to fight for you so you can get back to the best version of yourself. Get in an accident today, you get hurt at work today, yeah, the Advocates are the workman's comp experts. Chat with an injury attorney live online, and it won't cost you a dime at theadvocates.com. They're in Seattle, Washington, San Diego, Las Vegas, Phoenix, Utah, you name it. No matter where you're listening to the show, make sure you get to theadvocates.com. A lot to get to today. John David Wicker, JD Wicker, the pro rata we all deserve, talking about the Pac-12 TV deal, saying that, the Pac-12 TV deal, that's the pro rata we deserve, and that the Pac-12 is going to get this deal done. It is going to be with familiar names. It is going to be done by the end of March. I don't understand why JD Wicker is talking about this. I truly do not. I wish I did, but I do not. And I'm going to play the bite for you, and I just ask you, should JD Wicker be saying this in a public setting where he was well aware he was being recorded?
End of next month, we will have the MOU done for our television deal. So we will know what our TV deal is going to be, who our partners are going to be. I will say this, they're entities that you're familiar with, that you would recognize. We're going to get great exposure, and the really good thing is we're going to get more exposure. It's not just going to be football and men's basketball, but it's going to be all of our sports are going to have the opportunity for this increased exposure. It's going to be increased revenue, which is a big thing for us. So that's really the next big piece. Once we know that, then we can go recruit that 8th football playing member. We need one more football playing member that has all of its sports to meet FBS rules or NCAA FBS rules. And then after that, we'll figure out if we're adding 1, 2, or 3 more schools, and whether they're coming in all of their sports. They might be coming in some of their sports.
First of all, how does he not know that you need a full member? Well, a football playing member that's an FBS, an NCAA, and they have croquet as well.
You mean a full share member?
A full athletic department. You have to have a full member. It's called full member. You have to have a full athletic department that participates across the board. Why is JD Wicker talking about this? And when you listen to JD Wicker talk, do you have an overwhelming sense of confidence?
I don't, only because of his track record, right? Like when you've talked before, it hasn't ended well for you. And so it always seems like, hey, we have this story, and then JD Wicker randomly comes out of the woodwork and starts talking about whatever the hottest story is. And he takes time off, right? I mean, we legit hadn't heard from JD Wicker since the pro rata we deserve situation happened before. And so it's been a while. And I'm not surprised that he would come out and make bold claims like this. But to me, no, it doesn't inspire confidence. I think, again, much like the Teresa Gould interview we talked about so much last week, this comment and this statement, I'm not going to say you're grandstanding, but you're just sitting here saying, hey, we're going to have a deal by the end of March. Okay, well, that's what you said last year. You said that you're going to, not JD himself, but the conference said you're going to have a deal by Christmas, and that didn't happen. Now, I think they'll get a deal eventually, but I'm not confident it's by the end of March. I mean, you're sitting here talking about getting a deal done in the next 4.5 weeks or so, 5 weeks, and that would basically that would conflict with what Teresa Gould said in the interview, because Teresa said that they're still out in the market trying to figure out their relationships and they want transformational relationships. So I don't know. I feel like there's a little bit of conflicting storyline happening here. And JD's trying to paint the picture that it's like, go ahead and book it. We're going to have this done by the end of March. And Teresa Gould wasn't so hot to trot about that in the interview.
Well, I hope they do get a deal done by the end of March. It'd be nice for Pac-12 fans to have some level of calm. It would be nice to have a plotted course forward, because I think the real, news out of that statement was not that, oh, we're going to have a Pac-12 TV deal done. And I think, if my TikTok DMs and whatnot are any indicator, and usually they are not, Pac-12 fans saying, oh, I told you we're going to be on ESPN. He never said that. First of all, so my advice to you as a Pac-12 fan, take anything J.D. Wicker says with a grain of salt. Number 2, hit the like button right now, please. That will really help you get the pro rata you deserve if you hit the like button. Number 3, I would not assume that this is ESPN, Fox, like major distribution. I would not assume that. I would hope for that. I would not assume that by any stretch of the imagination. I hope that it is done by the end of March. I think it can be done by the end of March. I'm probably 60% that it is going to be done by the end of March, because I don't know how much longer they can go on. When you're talking about expanding and adding membership, that is a very long process. You don't have a lot of time to do that, which is why, as we exclusively reported on this show, they have been talking to people behind the scenes. So it's not as though they've issued invitations, but the Pac-12 hasn't just been sitting on their hands doing nothing. My guess is that they will probably get across the finish line in spring. I think this will be done by June 1st. But the real news out of that statement, they don't have a grant of rights with their new membership.
Right.
That's what the real news in that statement is. That Boise State and Fresno State, who's in a world of hurt right now at Fresno State, as we're going to talk about coming up. But Boise State, Fresno State, Colorado State, they don't have a grant of rights in the Pac-12. That's right there what that tells you. That's big news. Big news is it's going to, one of the guys who routinely DMs me about how stupid I am about the Pac-12 says that this means we're getting $15 million, because Pac-12 fans are still buying into this idea their TV deal will be $12 to $15 million a year. To which I tell you, you should go to rehab, because it's not going to be 12. How is it going to be $12 to $15 million a year?
Yeah, I don't know how you draw that conclusion based off what he said.
I have no idea. I don't know.
Like, he didn't say, oh yeah, we're going to have 12 to $15 million a year per school. He didn't say that it was ESPN. What he said is it's names that you would recognize, which again, I think, is a really broad statement. Like, if you take a second and think about that, the word recognize is a very broad term. Like, I recognize TNT, or I recognize this or that, but that doesn't mean it's like the top dogs. And again, it's this whole situation with this story where people want to come in here and say, oh, well, you guys hate the Pac-12. Yeah, it's actually not that we hate the Pac-12. It's
nothing to do with it.
Yeah, it's more that there's been so much improper reporting on this and so much, just exaggeration and drama and emotion in this story that we're the ones saying, hey, you can't get away from the fact, like you just said, he just confirmed that they don't have grant of rights done, that they don't have MOUs, as he specifically said in that clip, done. But again, Pac-12 fan wants to say, oh, we're set up and we're done and we're good to go. And it's like, no, just because it appears, based on what JD said, that they have agreements based on people's words currently. Yeah, Boise State said, yeah, we're going to leave the Mountain West and go to your conference. And you look at this graphic, and these schools obviously have verbally committed. But I want people to understand who we're listening to here. This is someone who's been riding the Pac-12 train for years now. This is someone who gave the Big 12 the bird because they thought they were getting into the Pac-12 when the Pac-12 was a Power 5 conference.
Yeah.
This is not new.
Well, and here's what I would tell you. Listen to what he says here. Because, again, he never says, well, if you maybe look at it like this. If you were going to do a deal with, and most Pac-12 fans believe that he means they're going to have a deal with ESPN and Fox. That's what most Pac-12 fans have been saying on social media. So where in here does he say they're going to have a deal with ESPN and Fox? And would you say it like this if you were going to have a deal with ESPN and Fox? And where is he saying that there's going to be big money here? He's saying they're going to get a raise from the $4 million they were getting in the Mountain West.
End of next month, we will have the MOU done for our television deal. So we will know what our TV deal is going to be, who our partners are going to be. I will say this, they're entities that you're familiar with, that you would recognize. We're going to get great exposure. And the really good thing is we're going to get more exposure. It's not just going to be football and men's basketball, but it's going to be all of our sports are going to have the opportunity for this increased exposure.
So entities.
Right.
And all of our sports. So let's pretend it is ESPN. What did he just say right there?
That you're going to be all over ESPN Plus.
That's exactly what he said, right? Which I think would be a very good deal for the Pac-12.
Yeah.
And I will continue to say this until the Crows come home. If you're on ESPN Plus, it is a very good day to be a fan of the Pac-12. It is a very good day. Now, you're going to have to pay to see it, which you're going to hate, but it's a very good day. I think the more likely scenario is that you have a deal with the CW and that you have streaming partnerships, which I think is exactly what you should be doing. So that would be a good deal.
Mm-hmm.
But Pac-12 fan, I'm telling you right now, if you are expecting $12 to $15 million, and there are fans out there saying that, you're going to be disappointed. If you are expecting, ESPN, the big mothership ESPN2 to be your home for Pac-12 sports, I think you're going to be disappointed. That deal would be done already if that were the case.
100% agree. 100% agree. And again, who are we listening to? I just want to keep pointing this out.
It's JD Wicker.
You're not listening to Teresa Gould. You're not listening to leadership at the conference level. You're listening to, and again, it's not personal, just going off of what's happened, right? Just going off a track record and what we know up to this point. You're going off of someone who made one of the worst mistakes that I've ever seen in college football administration. You went out and you said, hey, we're not interested in joining a Big 12 conference that, is still in existence today and is still in a great spot. We're interested in joining the Pac-12 and we want the pro rata we deserve. And we're going to put that on paper only to look foolish, only to look silly, like you don't understand what that means. And so, again, I if you're not a Pac-12 fan, you're just looking at this story. Yeah, I do think you got to take it with a grain of salt. Like you said, I do think that you have to have some understanding that, hey, JD Wicker's always going to be pro Pac-12. You're never going to hear him say, oh yeah, hey, the conference isn't in a great spot, or we made a mistake, or notice he said the pro rata thing and disappeared for however long it's been now and is only resurfaced now. Like it just, so yes, I think they'll get a deal. No, I don't think it's going to be some juggernaut of a TV deal, man. That's not how the industry works.
Yeah. And Sal Capone, you stick around, because this is one of the most ridiculous comments ever made on this show. And I am so excited to talk about Arizona and BYU. So Sal, you stick around. Let's see who's first in today. Oh, Sal. Good morning, guys. Look forward to a great show. Everyone hit the like button. Yes, please do. Jay Chapman, hello. Midweek Coug. Long live the Pac-12, I hope. Again, I don't think the Pac-12 is folding. The question is, and it's the same question that we put to Gloria Nevarez last week on the show, can both of these conferences thrive? Because I don't believe that both of these conferences get an $8 million deal. I think one of them gets $6 to $8 million. The other one gets 4 to 5, 6 at max. I think that's what you're looking at. I don't think there is $16 million in the marketplace for these two leagues. That would be stunning.
Yeah.
That would, because I also don't believe that you're going to go to ESPN and get $16 million combined. ESPN's not going to pay, let's say, 8 to the Mountain West and 8 to the Pac-12. Where is that money coming from? I don't. And my biggest concern for the Mountain West and for the Pac-12 is I just don't see that there are multiple distributors with late night windows on the West Coast. I don't see that, because I'd also remind you, ESPN's got the Big 12 already. So the flagship ESPN and ESPN2 are gone, because you've got the Big 12, you've got the ACC, you've got the SEC. Like, you have a ton of football content. So I don't see that there's a ton of late night windows with ESPN, with Fox. I could see Fox having primetime East Coast. I could absolutely see that. But one of the things that is so interesting is, if you're playing USC and Ohio State at the Coliseum for a 6:30 Eastern, or excuse me, 6:30 Pacific, 9:30 Eastern kickoff. Let's say 5:30 Pacific, 8:30 Eastern kickoff. Do you want your other partners in the Big Ten playing? Do you want ESPN? Do you want Fox? Do you want CBS? Do you want any of them to be playing a game in a primetime window? The answer is probably no. So I don't think Fox has a late night availability for you. I don't believe that's going to be the case, because is Fox willing to compete with NBC? Here comes Saturday night,
Right.
I think you have to keep that in mind. So I don't think that Fox is in the late night TV, Pac-12 after dark business.
Yeah, and I think the hard part for the Pac-12 is they're going to have to do, they're going to have to find the way, they're going to have to behave in a way with scheduling that works for the TV partners, not the other way around. And I think that there's been so much talk outside of the Pac-12. Obviously, like the Big Ten's talked about it a lot. Like Ohio State and Michigan never playing night games, like the preference that they get scheduling wise. The Pac-12 obviously is not going to have those luxuries. And so I think it'll be interesting to see, like, when they get a deal, let's say it's ESPN Plus and the CW and maybe a little bit on TNT.
It's the C-Dub.
The C-Dub. Are we going to get a lot of like daytime Pac-12 stuff, or are they going to get some later night window stuff on the CW?
So let me read you this DM I got from my guy Rodrigo
via social media.
Who
now before you get into the DM,
mm-hmm.
I'm putting it over I'm putting the over under at 2 times that he calls you stupid or doesn't know or says you don't know what you're talking about.
Rodrigo.
Okay.
I'm a lifelong Pac-12 fan. and a current student at Fresno State.
Uh-huh.
A deal with the C-Dub, which is what made me think about this. A deal with the C-Dub is fine. You insinuating that the C-Dub sucks tells me how uninformed you are about the TV world.
Oh.
Why don't you focus on the SEC, you homer?
So now you're an SEC homer.
Now I am an SEC homer. The one that I actually, and it's rare that you get this.
You're a homer, the first part.
Yeah. So it's rare that you get the word intelligent conversation. Stewart, who is a San Diegan.
Right.
Stewart said, you're one of the more level-headed guys on the Pac-12 media rights deal. Notice he didn't say TV deal. He said media rights deal.
Right.
I hope it's not the CW. And he actually used the C and the letter W. I hope it's not the CW. I don't see that gives us the proper distribution. But I also think there are too many Pac-12 fans who would be happy with the CW. What are your thoughts on ESPN and the Pac-12 going all in for each other?
All in for each other, bro?
I'm hearing that's the deal. $15 million all in for ESPN DC, direct to consumer. It should be DTC, direct to consumer. Okay. I don't know. I don't believe that there's any opportunity for ESPN to pay the Pac-12 $15 million a deal.
All in.
To go all in. That's not one, that's two knuckles. Okay. So I am not the expert on what the TV deal in the Pac-12 will be. I can only tell you that from what our sources in the TV industry have told us, ESPN's not in the $15 million a year for the Pac-12. They're not paying the Pac-12 $150 million a year because, as I have been told, the Pac-12 is looking for a 10-team media rights deal. They want a deal that includes all of their current members, and then they want the ability to get a pro rata if they add up to 10 members. That's I'm told that's part of the conversations happening with the Pac-12 and their prospective media partners.
Uh-huh.
So if you are $10 million or $15 million for 10 teams, that's $150 million a year. ESPN's not paying anybody $150 million a year. They're not going to do that for the Mountain West or the Pac-12. I think those are pipe dreams. So I also don't see ESPN going all in with the Pac-12. I don't think they have the over-the-air inventory to do that. I don't, because I can tell you firsthand, ESPN values the Oak State BYU Bedlam game. Well, that's a Freudian slip. But the mayhem, the mayhem that led to the Lassiter touchdown in Provo, and the crowd goes wild, and they value that late night football content. Because you remember what time that happened. You guys remember what time of night that was? Yeah, that was 1:15 in the morning Eastern time. That was 10:15 at night on the West Coast.
And I have to say, it's quite the vibe watching those kind of games that late at night in the fall.
I agree. Stephen Smith says, your guys' coverage of the Pac-12 has been spot on. Thank you. And thank you for being a member for 18 months. Wow.
Dude, I don't know how we've survived this long without an appearance from our guy here.
Look at this.
Have you been too busy on the route?
Lubbock's best mailman, Aaron MFing Wilson, is back. My guy.
Let's go, dude.
You know what? you are not somebody that is out of my thoughts very often. I think about you on a pretty regular basis, dude. I always wonder how you're doing. I love that you're here. Aaron has been a longtime supporter of this show, making videos during our bucked up competitions and submitting lineups on Prize Picks, and everybody's favorite Texas Tech fan has gifted not one, but two Monty show members.
Let's go, baby.
Aaron, good to see you, dude. I genuinely hope that you are just absolutely crushing souls as a postal employee. And I hope that you were able to respond to Elon's email. You know, I had a long debate. So, and I'm not going to say his name, bless his soul.
Bless his heart.
One of the things that happens through things like Pac-12 media deals, you get the guy who's like, you're fat and stupid, don't ever talk about the Pac-12 on your show again, idiot.
Yeah.
Who converts into, oh, you might have been right.
My bad.
Oh, wow. I like, he sent me a picture. He sent me like a rose emoji and was like, here are your flowers last week. When Ed Scott said what he said about the Pac-12, and it's morphed into one of those conversations. He is a federal employee who told me he got Elon's email, and I'm not going to say his name, and not that anybody gives a rat's ass about this show, and he was telling me, yeah, I told him, apparently Elon sent out an email to every federal worker. Every federal worker got an email from Elon Musk saying, I need to know the 5 things you did this week to justify your job. And this cat's like, yeah, I sent him the 5 things, but there's no way he's going to read my email, because apparently I did not know there's 13 million federal employees.
Oh,
I was unaware of that, who all got an email from Elon saying I need to know the 5 things you did last week. And if you don't reply, you're going to be fired. This dude's like, yeah, I sent him the 5 things, but he ain't going to read it. And the other best part about this, and I love my dude, I appreciate that you have, repatriated yourself to the Monty show. He's like, I put on red receipt on the email I replied to Elon. So I'm going to wait and see if he read it. I'm going to say that he's not going to, you're not going to, even if he did read it. Anyway, Aaron, I hope you were able to respond to the email, because I want you to keep your job as a postal worker. So, Stephen Smith, every time the Pac-12 tries to come back to relevance, they can't get out of their own way and somehow keep screwing it up. I think the Pac-12 conference should just merge with the Mountain West and be done with it. I think we're past that. I still put it at 10% that there would be a merger.
Yeah.
So I think we're past that. I also look at, I don't think the Pac-12 continually, quote unquote, screws it up. I think what happens is that they have not humbled themselves. They have not said, wow, we're in a world of hurt here. $6 million per school per year would be a really good TV deal for us. And until they're willing to do that, I don't think they can deliver on their. Did they promise what the conversations surrounding $12 to $15 million are ridiculous?
Yeah.
And
emotion-based conversations.
And until we move past that, we got to stop. We got to stop with that. In all seriousness, they ain't getting $10 million a piece.
I just don't think, based on the current TV deals that are already done, that the brands in the Pac-12 are worth that. I think you would have a hard time saying, like,
I would agree.
Hey, we're this school, we're worth 10 based on what you did over here.
I
just
would agree.
don't think the math doesn't math there.
I would agree. I don't see the awkward guy. I recognize Fubo TV. Exactly. Fubo TV. Look, I recognize the cooking channel, Marty. Let's see. Stadium guy James. Good morning, James.
Now, again, this cannot be a comment about IPFs and upper decks, dude.
Well, I was just at Snapdragon Stadium and I did a video. It's on my YouTube channel where I also have priest pedo stuff. And I'm really concerned the Pope's going to die. And they're going to bury his ashes in the IPF at Utah.
He's got no class.
That's what I heard. Pac-12 fans have to deal with the fact that TNT is losing the NBA. And they are the only ones who have the money to sign the Pac-12. Can I ask you, why is TNT not a good option?
Yeah, I feel like TNT would be a good option.
I feel like TNT is a great option.
Yeah,
they want live sports. Yeah. They have they don't have a lot of money to spend at Turner. They have money to spend, and they certainly have the money to procure a continued relationship with the Mountain West, and with the relationship that's in place with the Mountain West. I would think that they would continue that. So
we'll see.
Does TNT have money for both the Pac-12 and the Mountain West? Who knows? Who knows, man? And Donuts, the PAC will be performance-based on selling streaming subscriptions.
See, now that would be interesting. I don't love that deal for the Pac-12 at all.
Yeah.
I think that puts you in a really tough spot.
I don't love that deal either.
Yeah.
I don't love that deal either. Oak State James, if it's ESPN Plus or the CW, it won't be as much money as they think. Well, there's that. Eric Wasikowski. Amazon Prime, ESPN, CW, Cousins gets them $10 million at the max. Yeah, I don't know that they're getting $10 million.
The problem with that,
I don't know.
See, and this is a thing to consider too. I think it's a great point, Eric, for once in your life. ESPN and Amazon Prime are not going to be on the same deal because ESPN, it wouldn't put them on the big ESPN. It would be ESPN Plus. You're not going to do a deal where you're on Plus and on Amazon Prime.
And I also think one thing I would say about ESPN, it's unclear what ESPN's direct-to-consumer product looks like. And when I say what it looks like, is it an app that you download? Is it ESPN Plus, but all of the programming's available?
I mean, I would guess based on ESPN's business and just like, from an efficiency standpoint, I would be shocked if it was another app you had to download. I think what makes more sense is they would, renovate the ESPN app and the way you get to ESPN Plus or whatever that new DTC product's going to be called.
Because if you look at ESPN, and I think we both watch a pretty considerable amount of content. Yeah. I watch it every day. As a golf fan, they have every PGA Tour event, the early rounds. And it's Thursday through Sunday. I can get golf on ESPN Plus. But it's ESPN. Open the ESPN app. It's ESPN. There's a watch tab and then an ESPN Plus tab where the UFC fights are or their pay-per-view stuff is. And if you're a subscriber to ESPN Plus, which I am, thank you for the tax write-off. That's where that's what you watch. So I think we have to wait and see what the direct-to-consumer interface looks like. Because my guess is if you're the Pac-12 and you do a deal with ESPN, I think that would be fantastic. I would celebrate that deal if you are the Pac-12.
Yeah.
Because my guess is you're going to have your own tab in ESPN Plus that will be like, hey, and I would assume that you'll be part of their direct-to-consumer product. That would be fantastic for the Pac-12. I think.
Yeah, no, I would agree.
Right?
Yeah, that would be great.
Pac-12 on Prime sounds good to me. I don't think it'd be bad, Aaron.
That option as well. I think ESPN Plus is a better option, but Amazon Prime would not be a bad thing.
Cougs Johnson. Hello, Johnson.
Johnson.
Stay hard.
We, as Oregon State and Washington State, never said no to anything, including the old Big 12.
Right. But the problem was it was never offered to you. So,
I think the question is, when you say we never said no, I can tell you firsthand that you said no to a deal that included ESPN before the Pac-12 melted down. You said no. The problem in the old Pac-12 was you thought you were worth $50 million a year by back of the envelope calculations.
Yeah.
And you were never worth $50 million a year.
Back of the envelope calculations.
That's the hard part. So at this point, we can't keep looking backward at what the Pac-12 said, didn't say, didn't do, did do. I think you can only be singularly focused on what is ahead of you. You've got what the Pac-12 did in the past. You're either going to let that condemn your future or you're going to learn from it and move on. The biggest question I have for Pac-12 fans is Teresa Gould the past or the future? And I think she is both, and that's the problem. Because when you keep the same methodology in place, like I think Kirk Schultz retiring is a huge move forward for Washington State athletics.
Yeah, I agree with that completely.
You need new leadership. Washington State is a proud, valuable brand that is, I think, suffered under financial malfeasance, in my opinion. Just irresponsible spending, in my opinion, poor spending, like bad decision-making. That's what I think Washington State needs new leadership, and you're going to get it. And let's see what happens. Because, again, as I love to say on this show, the best indicator of future action is past action. That's going to tell you.
Yep.
That's as simple as it gets.
Again, whether it's J.D. Wicker or Teresa Gould or any of these people, we're seeing that. I'm telling you, and I really don't want this to happen, but if we get to April 1 and they don't have a deal done, we're going to have a conversation about when J.D. Wicker should talk and when he shouldn't talk.
And when J.D. Dicker shouldn't, J.D. Dicker,
the kicker,
when J.D. Wicker shouldn't be the athletic director at oh, wait, that's right. He should not still be the athletic director at San Diego State. Period. I think Aaron's idea would make sense. Would Amazon be willing to pay $7-8 million a year in the seat-up? No. You're not going to pay more money to split content. So you're telling me, let's pretend they get $16 million a year from Amazon and the CW. Explain to me who gets the grade A content. Who gets the best game? Who gets... Where are we playing Gonzaga basketball? Are you telling me that the CW's paying $8 million a year not to have Gonzaga basketball?
Gonzaga.
Or only to have half of Gonzaga basketball?
Gonzaga.
Are you telling me, because what's the best football game in if we look at the Pac-12 right now, you guys tell me what is the best football game on paper here? Oregon State, Washington State. Washington State's probably the biggest TV market or viewership draw. So Washington State, Boise State, to me, looks like the biggest. Are you telling me the CW's not getting that?
Yeah, well, and I think to that point, like, you also have to consider that, you know, the way TV deals are structured, and this is not unique to the Pac-12. This is we've seen this over and over and over and over and over again, repeatedly. You're going to have the tier one partner who is going to get less inventory, but the best games, right? They're going to get the biggest, most relevant games, and that's going to be, in most conferences, that's like 2 games a week. Typically, that's going to be like in the Big Ten. That's going to be, you know, that's going to include 4 teams most weeks. That's going to be Ohio State, Michigan, Oregon, and whoever, Penn State, let's just say, as an example, right? So they're going to have those 4 teams, which obviously equates to 2 games a week, but those are the biggest names in the conference playing, and they're going to do the most numbers. So value-wise, that makes sense for, call it, you know, NBC, let's just say. You know, like for the Pac-12, again, this is where I think you start getting limited with your the financial picture, because again, when you look at the teams and the matchups that you could create currently, your best matchup, I would agree, is in question. It's not definitive what your best matchup is. We all know it's Boise State and somebody, but we don't know who that second team would be. So if we as, you know, observers, you know, I would even call, you know, us as people who cover this game very closely, cover the TV space closely, I'm telling you that there's not a definitive tier 1 game in the Pac-12 right now. It's Boise State and whoever. And so if you're doing a media rights deal with 2 tiers, I guess the first tier is just, hey, we're going to get every Boise State game. Is that what we're saying? Like, hey, if it's, let's say it's ESPN or on ESPN Plus, that means that every Boise State and whoever game is on ESPN Plus, and then, you know, or maybe that's the CW. My point is that there's not enough depth in the conference currently to have a real clean cut delineation of like, hey, we're talking to the CW. This is the obvious thing we're going to talk to them about. You're going to them saying, hey, we've got this mix of schools. We're going to need a pro rata because we're going to expand after we do this TV deal. And these are the schools we're going after, which again, I also say is a huge question mark. Who are you going to go after as the 8th, 9th, and 10th teams? Because that's what he said in that clip, that they're going to try and get to 10 teams essentially. And I don't know who you go after there. Are you going to go back to the AAC schools? Is that the American schools?
I mean, don't know.
Like that's where I look at this TV deal and I say the conversation isn't really about if you're going to get a deal. I think you're going to get a deal. That's not really the question. The question is more like, hey, when you get that deal, first of all, where does it come in for valuation? And again, I think 7-8 million is a really, really safe number if you're looking at this deal and thinking and trying to project forward. So let's call it $8 million a year per school. Okay, at that point, then who are the partners? If it's the CW and ESPN Plus, I think that when you go to expand, the money's not going to be great. Like if you're the CW, can you really sit here and be like, yeah, we're going to give you 10 a year per school. And when you go out and add 3 more, we'll give you, another 30 million. Like, I don't know that the CW has enough viewership to justify that. I mean, does the CW have enough ad pool to justify spending that kind of money?
No, but I think you also have to look at the tea leaves here. I think that obviously Gonzaga and ESPN have a good relationship, which is why I continue to hear that Gonzaga is trying to facilitate some portion of ESPN being involved in the Pac-12 deal. And that's why I continue to say I could absolutely see a very small piece of the Pac-12 deal being on the ESPN family of networks, which could include ESPN Plus and ESPN.com. And I just have to believe the CW gets the lion's share of the deal. And I think there will be a secondary network involved there. I think TNT, I think one of those other networks could get into that. How much of the football, how much of the basketball, I think that pie gets cut up. But I have to believe that ESPN wants to continue to take Gonzaga basketball, right? I would think. That would be my opinion.
Gonzaga.
Because more than 9 people have told me that ESPN likes Gonzaga basketball, which I understand it's a premier basketball program.
Yeah.
Why would you not? So I just think the whole thing is very interesting. I am not of the belief that they're both getting 7 to 8. They're both paying $7 to $8 million a year.
Yeah. And I also think
I don't see that
when you compare them both, like obviously we know the Mountain West has been further down the road with their TV partners. So again, I also think that's an interesting question. We know that the Mountain West has a great relationship with CBS. So if they go that route, then that still leaves the door open for the Pac-12 to do with these other networks.
San Diego State Glenn, good morning to you, sir. I saw a Mountain West show yesterday, Mountain West Conference show yesterday, where the host said he's seen the Mountain West grant of rights. The Mountain West Conference, and it says UNLV won't have to pay an exit fee only if it leaves for the Big 12. That's absolutely the case.
Yeah, we've said that.
Yeah, we've said that before. We saw the memo of understanding in November. I think it was the first time we saw it. And it clearly states any team can leave the conference to go to a P4. You can, if you're stepping up, you can, and you're going to a power conference, you do not have to pay an exit fee.
Yeah.
That's the deal in the Mountain West for sure. Aaron Wilson, I'm back, baby. Just had a birthday and on vacation. Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
Happy birthday, dude.
Mike Smith, good to see you, Aaron. Jeremiah Champion. Love the community this showgram is built. Yeah, so do we. Aaron says hello. Elon gonna cut my route. Let's hope he doesn't cut your route. I hope that's not the case.
Aaron, do you have a mail truck or do you walk? Like,
yeah,
what's the setup? What's the setup?
For those you don't know, Aaron Wilson's a phenomenal bro. He's gone through a lot. His dad passed away. We tried to raise a bunch of money for him to help rebuild his dad's house, which he had trouble with like the heat and just all kinds of stuff. And Aaron's been a big part of the show for a long time, but he's been a lesser part of the show because he's also a mailman in Lubbock.
Yeah.
And so he works. Although there's a huge change coming to the show. When are we going to announce that?
I don't know. When do you want to
Because if one more of you hyenas ask me, hey, I won't tell anybody.
Marty,
I
your
won't.
secret's safe with me.
I promise. We have to figure out, because April's going to represent a pretty big change on this show. So we'll have to figure that out. But yeah, Aaron's been part of the show for a long time, and I'm glad to see you. Dad Keo. Aztec, I'm not Monty, but that is true. Not just the Big 12, but any power conference. Correct.
Dad.
Oak State James. Oh, I got that stupid email too. I sent him a list of 10 things. Are you a federal employee?
Hold on. Okay, hold on. We got to review this, bro. We
when did you become a federal employee?
So wait, you're a pastor
who's writing a book about pedo priests,
right? And so obviously Penn State's the focus,
right?
But now you're a federal employee. I'm sorry. I'm confused on what you do for work, bro. What do you do for work? Now I don't understand.
Yeah, I have no idea what you do for work.
I thought you traveled around interviewing priests for this book. That's legit what I thought you did.
I don't know. The Buffalo Hunter. Elon will have Grok read them.
Yeah, right.
If you think that was a foul on Arizona, you don't deserve my nut today, bro. If you think that was the only blown call, how many good calls did the ghost foul on the three-pointer? Love shooting a three-pointer, never touched. 13 minutes from now, at 7:00 Mountain, 6:00 Pacific. We'll get into that. Trust me. Rock and rant. It is pretty inexcusable for an athletic director like him, new to the conference, getting out ahead of their commissioner. That's the. You know what, Rock and Rant? That's the first
negative. We didn't want to be assholes about this, dude. Everyone says, oh, well, you guys hate the Pac-12 and you hate on San Diego State and, you guys are just negative. I didn't want to say that. I didn't want to go down that route. I didn't want to point out
because
hey,
that's the first thing I said. I was like, why is J.D. Wicker talking? And it's what I said to start the show. Why is J.D. Wicker talking about this in a public forum where he's being recorded? Because every time that's happened, it's gone terribly wrong for San Diego State. Terribly wrong.
Yet here we are, once again.
Aaron Wilson. Texas Tech looking like we're going to invest the money to win the Big 12 finally. You're the most talented roster in the conference right now. You better. Ryan Smith's receding hairline. Arizona fans just mad at Mormons stole their poverty hockey team. You're welcome.
We show up.
Oh, I cannot wait.
Their
12 minutes.
Poverty hockey team.
12 minutes. Darius, 996. I don't know. It's just what I felt like doing. The Pac-12 will do anything to be part of a cellar-dweller Mountain West. Avoiding the basement's the point. I actually think, with a different sentiment, but I actually think that you're not wrong. I think, as I have said, and I said it directly to Gloria Navarez on the show last week, it's a race not to be the least valuable TV contract in college football.
Right.
Because if you get $4 million a year per team, it's over. It's over. If the Mountain West shows up at $6 to $8 million, they're going to be just fine. Just fine. No problem. They have a grant of rights in place, as we reported, and Gloria Navarez confirmed on the show. And then you have J.D. Wicker saying that we'll have a memo of understanding by the end of March, which means they do not currently have a grant of rights in place, which is remarkable to me. Jay Beers, speaking of UFC fights, they were incredible on Saturday. Great card in Seattle. Cool. Aaron Wilson, did Monty say 15 or 50? Exactly. Wicker has premature issues. I believe he does. Colorado State versus Oregon State. Who does not want to watch a horny beaver competition? You know.
Yeah.
Afternoon shows are back, baby. Let's go. Boy, would you love that, Aaron. You would love that, wouldn't you? The Buffalo Hunter, Marty and Jake are going to allow viewers to call in. Could be.
But would you guys honestly want that, dude?
Do you want calls on the
bro,
show?
We've seen it so many times. Like, you've all listened to the radio show where they have like 800 people call in and, dude, is ranting about some random take that has nothing to do with what you want to talk about. Like, do we really want to do that? I could see maybe a video submission thing, like where you're limited to like 30 seconds. You got to get in, get out. Okay, we could work with that.
Maybe we send Oak State James a link to be live on the show. Yeah. Breaking pedophilia, priesthood news
from the IPF.
When the Pope dies here this week, we'll have James come on and pronounce him heavenly, and
God bless.
The pro rata he deserves. Get into heaven. You're the priest. Okay.
I
should probably move on. Look at this. I can't talk about my day job here.
Oh.
But I am a chaplain at the VA hospital. I was on a call last week. Trust me, I worked my butt off last week.
So you work for like the CIA and stuff.
So you work for the VA, which was decimated by Doge. Okay. James must be the chaplain. I believe he is. The Chad Carter. How's it going, mother lovers? Exactly. It's been a good couple of weeks for the Ohio State. A good couple of weeks. 9 minutes. 9 minutes until we get to BYU, Arizona. Dude that abides. Where have you been? Good to see you. We've got ourselves an upper deck mystery on our hands now, don't we? The stadium guy, James, and his employment. Shouting. Aaron Wilson. Video submissions, huh? Could be. The king of video submissions.
Dude, Aaron Wilson, bro.
Aaron Wilson.
Dude, I can only imagine. I'm literally sitting here picturing you in your postal delivery uniform, walking down the sidewalk with your bag full of mail, just shooting a selfie video with a sports take.
An email submission on the show. I'm not. I should
wait, like a legitimate email
somebody
submission?
Sent me an email. I'm not going to read it because I'm not. No. Tyler sends me a TikTok DM. It's rude that you won't read my tweets or DMs on Twitter. I took time out of my day to tweet at you. Does it mean nothing to you that us quote unquote cattle class flyers, so he listens to the show, that us quote unquote cattle class flyers send you DMs and tweet at you? When did you become too big for the commoner?
Wait,
okay.
Did you just call my guy fat?
Bro.
Is that what happened?
My waistline has nothing to do with this. Okay, Chubbs? I don't read Twitter DMs or notifications. If you tweet at me, I'm probably not going to see it. I cannot tell you the last time I clicked on my Twitter notification tab. Because it's all a wasteland of you suck, you're stupid, we're amazing, you're off. Like, that's what X has turned into. It used to be an amazing place, and now it's not.
Right.
Cougs Johnson. Yes, but maybe once per week call-ins.
Okay, so a segment, you're saying. You
a
want
weekly segment.
Like a window where we have people call in.
Maybe it's the don't screw it up segment on the Monty show.
Yeah.
Okay. That awkward guy. Who would we allow to be the first caller on the Monty show?
It would have to be someone, they would have to be a legend on the show.
Maybe we'll do a thing like, hey, if you follow me on Twitter or TikTok, follow me on TikTok. I'll send you a link to get on the show.
Yeah, I have to say, I am more inclined to do video submissions. The call-in thing, it's not bad, but in our format, I would prefer to do video submissions.
Or maybe we get one of those voice over IP free phone number things.
Yeah, maybe we could do
that. And you could leave us
suppose.
voicemails.
You could do voicemails.
I don't want to do live call-ins on the show.
Yeah.
Damian Fowler, James phone calls would be lit. Oak State James, yes, please go back to afternoons. That way I can listen while I am charting my work.
But listen, dude.
What did you say while you're charting at work?
Listen, if we go back to afternoons, if we were to do that, we can't have you giving out your personal information on X, dude. That can't happen.
Yeah,
again.
James had an issue. Jake and James were sexting. Frankly, they were on the phone together. Jake literally said, "Jake is talking to Oak State James" in a legendary moment on the show, where James live on the phone. James and Jake are talking on the show. James had tweeted out his personal financial information, and James could not figure out how to delete a tweet. And Jake is trying to walk him through it, and James is like, "I have to go." And Jake is like, "Okay, love you."
You got to get stroked.
Like, what? And then Jake admitted on the air that they have been textually involved.
Like lightly.
The Natural, wow, he's a Department of Defense guy.
That's what I'm saying,
call.
dude. He's Jason Bourne, bro. He's Jason Bourne.
You walk in the Buc-ee's and you're like, Jesus Christ, that's Jason Bourne, who is sunbathing on the rollers.
Seriously.
What would you do if you walked into a Buc-ee's and Oak State James was like, "Hey, Marty, have a barbecue sandwich on me, boy."
Don't touch me there. That, sir, is my no-no square.
Jake's ex-girlfriend, the insane psycho school teacher who he broke up with over text, and then she brought their dog to Utah. It was amazing. Anyway, the point is, and then she took him on a plane, and he took a huge dump on an airplane. Jake, not the dog. Anyway, the point is, she's like, "No square, boy." Jake got no squared. Anyway, Aaron, you're becoming a celebrity. He's already a celebrity. That awkward guy. Wait, so James will tell us about his butthole, but not his job?
Janus.
Yes.
Dude, that's incredible.
Yes,
bro.
that's exactly right, awkward guy.
Bro,
yes.
Incredible poll right there.
Yes. Rock and rant. James, I sent in 5 things to HR and may or may not have told Elon to have sexual relations with himself at Point One. Okay, well, you're not keeping your job, sir. In all seriousness, Elon told federal employees that he sent an email to, I think it's 13 million federal employees.
Right.
And he said, "I need you to reply to me with 5 things you did last week to justify your employment here at the United States government. And if you don't reply, you're fired." How is he going to read 13 million emails?
No idea.
And then how is he going to decide if the 5 things James replied to him with are part and parcel of his job and he can keep his job or no, you're fired? It's 13 million. And I've probably gone too far with this already, but dare I say asking 13 million to email you a list of 5 things is not efficient. Just saying.
No comment.
I haven't been around as much as I'd like and as we'd like, is what I'm saying.
It seems like we're getting a consensus. Now, we haven't talked about this. This is not something that we've vetted out yet. But you all are commenting about us going back to the afternoons.
Do you really want us to go back to afternoons?
Is that what we're... Yeah. Is that what is that the consensus here?
Yeah, could be. You read those damn DMs, you Notre Dame hating Mormon.
Yeah. Oh,
we'll talk about hating Mormons in about 2 minutes. Jeremiah Champion, you missed my heyday period of video submissions. Oh man, unbelievable.
Dude, incredible.
Ferris Khan, Twitter is so 2019. TikTok, and whatnot chats. WhatsApp chats? During auctions is where it's at. I am a TikTok fan. I use TikTok pretty regularly every day. So, admit it, Monty, a call-in from the Pac-12 fan would be legendary. It really would be. Rock and rant, I am feeling much better. A month ago, I was really having a bad health situation. He was shitting himself a month ago. That's what he said in the comments. That's what he said in the comments section.
He aired my guy out like that, bro.
No, he was airing it out.
He's just taking a big dump in his pants,
Did he not say that?
I'm going to do that.
Yes, he did say that. Damian Fowler, a Jagoff comment of the day segment. Could be.
Yeah.
Could be.
We could do that.
OMFG, I remember that. There you go. We want James to be first caller so Two Shakes can say I love you.
He broke up with you over text
That was
message?
such a good moment. It was such a legendary moment. I have so many video submissions, but that system hasn't allowed it for a minute. Well, we haven't done that. Aaron Wilson, hello, Maury. Hello.
Maury.
Yes. The Chad Carter, Aaron Wilson, just to catch you up, it's a tradition to nut when the show starts.
And Chad, do you nut in your well, or what's the deal?
Wow. Boyd Lake, great week for BYU basketball. Yes, it was. Great 2 weeks for BYU basketball, but yes, it was. Don't like you in the afternoons. I need to see the GOAT Sam Webb too. You moving time slots may need 2 browser windows open then. Could be.
Well, you always have 2 browser windows
Boy,
open.
Ferris, I'll tell you what. I had a terrifying conversation about Michigan over the weekend. Like, it is not the expected punishment. If the expected punishment, which I'm not going to say because I haven't confirmed it, the expected punishment that is supposedly coming for Michigan is too much. It is way, way, way over the top. Way over the top. Let's say like the bowl ban. I've heard, and I'm not reporting it as fact, I have been told the bowl ban for Michigan is going to be 5 years of a postseason ban. And the scholarship reductions that are being tossed around on Michigan, my goodness. It is, and it's not one of the amazing things. They're not going to be punished for stealing signs. They're not going to be harshly punished for the sign stealing operation. You know what they're going to be punished most significantly for? Not being cooperative and not being honest, lying to the NCAA.
Yeah.
And there is a belief out there that the NCAA is going to be petulant about it. That the NCAA is going to prove that it still has teeth. And they're going to use Michigan as an example. And what is their main motivation going to be? It doesn't matter if the actor is still employed at your university, in this case, Jim Harbaugh. It doesn't matter if the actor is still employed at your university. The fact is he was, and he did what he said he did, allegedly, and stuff. I hope that does not happen. There is nothing good for college football that results from Michigan missing 5 years of postseason play.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
I can't believe that it would be there's no way. And we're talking about hundreds of scholarships being reduced. There's no way that can happen. You cannot allow that to happen. You cannot do it. You cannot do it. There is no way. But it's fine. All right. Let's see. A couple more, then we need to move on. Michigan, thank you, mother. May I have another? Dude. Lying to the NCAA. Jay McClanahan lying. Got him. The lying thing is supposedly the lion's share of the punishment.
I think, again, the problem is that Jim Harbaugh's attorney made it personal. And that, I think, is what probably, if it ends up happening, is what you can go back to. Because don't forget, and you can go find it, it's all over the internet still. Jim Harbaugh's attorney saying that nothing will come of this, and the NCAA is toothless, and we're gonna show them what it really is, and that's I think just that sentiment is what, like, anytime, like, we've all been in these situations where, like, you're standing in a room with someone and somebody makes it personal in an unnecessary way. Like, it didn't need to be a thing where it was personal, but they made it personal.
Oh,
that's when people get upset.
Yeah.
And so, again, if that ends up happening, I can understand, man. I understand.
Yeah, we'll see. There's a media outlet that is in possession, and they are trying to validate its authenticity. There is a media outlet in possession of a significant number of emails between the NCAA, Tony Petitti, and Michigan.
Yeah.
And if they can authenticate that, it will absolutely blow the top off of any Michigan argument that they did not know what was happening.
I do think that at a minimum, again, we'll see what ends up happening. But I do think at a minimum, you have to set a precedent with this Michigan thing. There has to at least be, they have to punish them at least enough to where if someone else were to kind of step into this territory 5 years from now, let's say, or 10 years from now, they can look back and say, hey, Michigan did this and you did that, so we're going to punish you this much.
You cannot, I think the maximum you can lay down is a 2-year postseason ban. You cannot keep Michigan. The NCAA, the college football world, the universe needs Michigan involved in the postseason. You cannot have, no matter what you think of Michigan, they have a massive fan base. You can't keep Michigan out of the playoffs for 5 years.
Yeah.
You cannot do it. And I understand they're looking at 6 level 1 violations. If those are, that's what you need to watch. If I could advise you on anything, just count the number of level 1 violations that are levied against Michigan.
Right.
When this comes out in the next several months. But dude, you cannot ban Michigan for 5 years from the postseason. And I know that that's being talked about. You can't do that. You cannot. Even Michigan guy knows they did it. It's not and that's the thing. It's not a question. There's so much video evidence. There's so much public. Connor Stalions' activities are out there. It's not even a question of did he send people to other stadiums? Yes. How do we know that? Text messages. Those people talked. Cloud accounts, ticket accounts, Venmo accounts that were all publicly available.
It's not about whether you did it or not. You did it.
You did it.
It's about the fact that you lied about it and tried to hide it.
Exactly right. Exactly right. But I think you are talking about years. If you were to ban Michigan from the playoffs for 5 years and take 100 scholarships from them over a 5-year period, they would never be relevant in our lifetime again. They just would not be relevant as a football program for at least a decade, at a minimum.
Yeah.
You're talking about 15, 20 years of damage. You're not doing that to Michigan. Nobody is on board with that. Nobody. The Monty Show presented by our good friends at Prize Picks, prizepicks.com. Again, I don't know, and it could just be that Luca's hot mom thinks I'm hot, and that's why she gifted me with a Saturday night performance.
My name is Luca.
Because I'm going to tell you, the business that I did on Saturday night in the NBA, I did bad things to people. And the money that I put up on Luca having a big performance, I don't know how I did it. Luka Doncic on Saturday night had a 28.5-point rebound and assist number. That's taking money from children. That's candy from a baby on Halloween, right? He put up 32, 10, and 7. He put up 49. Easy. Austin Reeves, again, I can only tell you so many times. Right now, Austin Reeves, anything under 32 points, rebounds, and assists, stealing money from Prize Picks. He had a 30.5-point rebound and assist number. He put up 34. It's stealing money, man.
Yeah.
It is stealing money, and if you are not doing it, and then the Jazz beating the Rockets was about the most predictable thing that I think it was ever a thing to happen. And I will again tell you that if you are not taking Walker Kessler every time that he's healthy and available, which is going to be a question this week, because I don't think he's going to play this week. He had a 17-point rebound and assist number. He put up 17 rebounds on his own. 17. I think he was 17 And then he put up 33. I mean, it's taking money.
Right.
And the only one I almost picked over him was Jabari Smith, who was like a 21. You would go under on that all day against the Jazz. Jabari Smith is not having a big game. And the other guy I want, if you're going to play Prize Picks in the NBA, I can only tell you so many times, the Thompson brothers, Ashur and Amin Thompson, you're stealing money from Prize Picks in the NBA. It is the single greatest thing I've ever seen. Download the Prize Picks app, open a new Prize Picks account, use the promo code Monty. You deposit $5, they'll give you 50 more instantly. It is stealing money from Prize Picks. Here's how you win. You play 3 picks. So, Luka Doncic, 28 points, rebounds, and assists combined, more or less. That's all you have to do. More or less. 3 picks like that on a flex play, and do like $5, dude. You'll win money because you get paid on 2 of 3.
Yeah, you mean like Keegan Murray for more or less than half a turnover? I mean, come on, dude.
It's Keegs.
Yeah, I mean, come on. That's a gimme, dude. Guy turns it over once a game, almost every game.
Yeah. The Knicks losing to good teams like the Celtics, Cavs, and Thunder, easy money.
Paul George, less than 29.5 points, rebounds, and assists with how he's playing.
How bad has he been?
Dude, come on, man.
They're talking about shutting Joel Embiid down for the year.
I would.
I don't disagree with that. All right. Let's get into Arizona and BYU. And
Sal.
we got to have a real conversation about this now, because what's going on when BYU comes to town has got to be stopped. Because Arizona on Saturday night gives up 96 points to BYU in what is only the second time that BYU has scored that many points in Arizona. And I will continue to tell BYU fan, at some point you have to get over the Jimmer Fredette era. Because, frankly, it's getting old always talking about Jimmer. When you have unbelievable performances being put down and you scored 96 points at Arizona, it's an incredible win. The officiating in this game was as bad as basketball officiating has ever been. And Arizona fan claiming foul and saying that it's an unbelievable injustice. You really think one call ruined this game? There were at least half a dozen calls in this game that were inexplicable, and 4 out of those 6 went to Arizona and went against BYU. And then the other dozen non-calls against Arizona, I would say, Arizona fan, settle down. Oh, that's right. You can't settle down because you're too busy chanting F the Mormons as BYU walks off the court. At what point does the NCAA step in and make it known that chanting hate speech at BYU and other institutions is not acceptable? Because now we're not talking about a great BYU basketball win, and it was. We are talking about the bigotry that exists in Tucson, where an entire arena is chanting F the Mormons. Who are you, Oregon football, who had Autzen Stadium chanting F the Mormons, and nobody did anything about it? And I'm going to tell you now, issuing an apology because your fan base is a bunch of bigots who chanted F the Mormons isn't quite getting it done. And at some point, you're going to have to start forfeiting games, and you are going to have to start paying millions in dollars of fines if your fan base is going to chant hate speech at BYU. Because, Jake, I think it's high time somebody does something to stop it.
Yeah, I mean, it's clearly inappropriate. It's clearly not what anybody would be expecting, or like it doesn't live up to the standard. It's and we see this in sports a lot, where fans say and do really terrible things. I mean, you look at whether we're talking about fans throwing things on the field, whether we're talking about them saying nasty stuff. Like, humanity, we all know, shows its true colors when it's upset. We've seen this before. And I don't know what you do. Yeah, you find Arizona or whatever school is doing this, Arizona, Oregon, like whoever you want to point to. And at that point, that's how you handle it. I mean, I think, an interesting parallel is this whole situation where we're not seeing the storming of the courts anymore because of the fines that have been put in place, and because they're trying to prevent that, and it has worked. Fining the institution, tons of money when the fans storm the court has prevented court storming. It has. We've seen that, and so I have to agree. If you want to prevent this, maybe you institute a fine. But I think the tough part is that Arizona fan wants to talk about the officiating. And I have to agree, the officiating was terrible, but the reality is, just like you said, most of that went your way. So, like, you're upset about that last play of the game, and you felt like it should have been an and one. And yeah, probably should have been an and one, but that's not the point. The point is that you lose the game by one, and then your fans go into full hate speech meltdown mode because you lost at home. Maybe, I don't know, slow BYU down. Maybe keep them from scoring 96 points. Maybe play better basketball. Maybe keep it out of the officials' hands. Maybe shoot a higher percentage. Maybe run more effective offense. Like, there are a million different ways that you could go about this, but instead you just want to say it's the officials' fault, and you don't want to talk about the fact that your fans are a terrible representation of what is otherwise a good institution. Like, that's the problem. So, with all due respect, Sal, I appreciate that you're here and you're on the show, and any other Arizona fan, but you have to come to the middle a little bit and understand that what happened after this game is probably the bigger story than some suspect officiating that seemingly shows up on a night in and night out basis at the professional level and at the college level.
And you might want to stop turning the ball over and giving up 22 points off turnovers.
Yeah, like, you just didn't play well, dude.
I think there's no question the and one was a bad call. Depends on how you look. When was he fouled? The foul that everybody's looking at certainly should have been an and one. The foul previous to that foul is what I think the official blew the whistle on. But you can't be shoving guys under the basket and have them not blow the whistle. You can bitch and moan about one call. You lost this game because you gave up 22 points off turnovers. That's the facts of the case.
The basketball.
And none of that excuses the heinous, horrendous language and the hate speech that was levied against BYU basketball that will go unpunished. And I don't give a rat's ass if you issued a statement of apology. It's not enough anymore. And I agree, it's like court storming, only it's worse.
Yeah.
Because now you look like a bunch of bigots, whether you are or not, you are. And at some point, the NCAA has to step in and do something.
Well, and I think it's interesting, too, like in situations where it's like one fan, like we've seen this in the NBA a lot, right? Or like at football games where one particular fan in a section is yelling heinous things and saying terrible things. And so the people around him call in security or whatever, and they have him removed, right? We see that on a pretty regular basis, I would say. That's pretty common. It's not rare anymore. That's just how we do it now. The problem is that you had so many fans saying this that there wasn't anything you were going to do about it. And it just got written off to, well, it was heat of the moment. Like, this is, so there were two things at play that I saw after the game on Twitter with this situation. Number one, everyone wanted to say that Arizona's AD and like the leadership at Arizona were pulling a Mark Harland and criticizing the officials and acting in that same way. And they were. And that was the first piece of the conversation. But what bothers me is that the F the Mormons thing didn't even come up until later on. Like, people were so focused on this one call and they just weren't talking about this.
Go look at the package that so many BYU fans have put out. There's at least 6 egregious no calls. I mean, forearm to the upper back in the post, hip checking just, you have to call it. And the ref is looking, there's the one where it's a two-handed shove and the ref is looking right at it and doesn't call it. That one call did not lose you the game. It did not. Sorry. You can't. Yeah. Big 12 refs are horrible. Example, JT Toppin injection against Houston. Big 12 refs, Big 12 basketball, Basketball refs across the country have been terrible.
Anytime you leave it in the officials' hands, you're going to lose.
You're going to lose.
Like,
and none of this excuses the bigoted chants that came from Arizona fans. None of it. And it's becoming a cool, chic thing to do now. And at some point, you got to put a stop to it. And the NCAA, in my opinion, likely will not do that. The thing that bothers me, if this was an entire arena chanting N-bombs or gay slurs, or it would be the end of the world. But because it's the LDS community and because it's the Mormon population being targeted, nothing will happen. It's perfectly acceptable to make up lies that somebody lobbed an N-bomb at you at a volleyball game at BYU. No penalty. Remember, no penalty for that. How many tens of thousands of dollars did BYU spend on that? I mean, a ton. No penalty for Duke. No penalty for Oregon fans chanting F the Mormons. No penalty for Arizona fans chanting F the Mormons. At what point do you put a stop to it?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Clearly not anytime soon.
They're not going to do it.
Yeah.
They're not going to do it. And I don't care that Arizona apologized. I don't care they released a statement. There needs to be damages done to universities that are bigots like Arizona and Oregon. You got to do it because that tells me you care about it. Oh, wait, you don't care about it. That's right. That's right. You don't care about it. Ed Enriquez, Zona fans thinking their blue blood status should lead to victories. Blue blood, good programs that won one natty on program's history and who can't count their money correctly.
Yeah.
Come on. This is Big 12 basketball, though. Shouldn't it be physical play and you ruin a game by not a foul at all? Well, you got to blow the whistle.
Your case here, dude, is that it's a physical game, but then you're trying to say that, hey, you got to let them play, but I want the whistle when it behooves us. It doesn't work that way, dude.
It's a tough, and Sal, I just think it's a tough argument to win. I mean, the officiating was garbo the whole game. Let's just be honest about it. Shouldn't it be physical play and you ruin a game by not a foul call at all? Just saying it was a good game to be ruined by a bad call. It wasn't ruined by that call. It was ruined by Arizona.
See,
fans.
that's what I disagree with, Sal. It wasn't ruined by that one call. If your take was, hey, this game was completely reshaped by the awful officiating, okay, maybe we could have a conversation about that. If you take into account all the calls that went Arizona's way, obviously the and one at the end of the game, that was a clear and one. Like there were a lot of different calls for this game that clearly were missed or not called the correct way. But you're not going to just skip over how poorly you guys played. There's no question you should have beat BYU at your place.
And when you shoot the three as well as both teams shot the three, all you have to do, take care of the ball.
You gave him 22 extra possessions, bro.
I mean, it is remarkable to me. That's the stat that stands out in this game. 14 turnovers leading to 22 points.
Or 14 extra possessions. Yeah, that's a lot of possessions, bro.
But the problem is Arizona played well. 14 fast break points, 54% from the floor, 45% from three. Well, the problem with that is BYU shot 55% from the floor and 45% from three. And BYU shot 71% from the line, missed 10 of 14 is not good enough from the free throw line.
No.
You only got to the free throw line 14 times, BYU. And Arizona fans bitching about the officials. You shot 25 free throws.
Like, come on, dude.
You can't complain about that.
Let me get this right. You got to the line, 11 more times than BYU?
They called 21 fouls against BYU.
You turned it over. So let me get this right. You got to the line 11 more times. Then you turned it over 14 times, leading to 22 points.
Huge problem.
Like, that's a problem, man. And you're a really good team this year. Arizona is a really quality basketball team this year that simply did not play well.
Arizona's good, not great.
I would refer you to what Bill Self talked about when BYU beat them. I would refer you to that press conference. What did he say? Hey, we didn't play well tonight. We did not put our kids in a position to go out and beat a really dynamic BYU offense that moves the ball a lot and seemingly always finds the open guy. That's what you should be
Five
talking
guys
about,
in
dude.
double figures.
And I'll say the same
BYU.
thing about this that I said about Mark Harlan when that whole thing went down. You're busy talking about officiating when you should be busy talking about how poorly you played. You gave up 96 points at home. I don't care who you're playing. That's not good enough. Like, if you give up more than 85 points at home, I would tell you you're not having a good night. You're just not.
Yeah, you can't give up 96 points.
That is too much.
And one other thing, and I know this is not going to be popular amongst the BYU crowd. At what point do you move on from Jimmer Fredette? At what point can you win a basketball game and somebody not talk about Jimmer Fredette? It's incredibly insulting to modern day BYU basketball, who's doing great things. And again, I think what Richie Saunders is doing is arguably historic with the consistent performances that he's putting up and the numbers that he is putting up. And you, Jack Wagons, are so focused on talking about Jimmer Fredette that you just can't appreciate the job that he's doing for you. And I don't know. I don't know how you understand it. Richie Saunders in the Big 12, number 1 in 3-point field goals, 3rd in points per game, 3rd in field goal percentage, 5th in 3-point field goals made per game.
It's great, man.
Top 15 in free throw percentage, and you can't appreciate it. Like, his performance against Arizona, incredible. And you want to talk about Jimmer Fredette, who's been gone for how long? Right? Talk about this team. Talk about the fact that you are getting a consistent performance across the board, that you had 5 guys in double figures against Arizona on the road in a difficult place to play, and you won, and you are likely going to be ranked in the top 25 this week. I think it's an unbelievable run for BYU. And if you look at their recent wins, now the biggest issue is obviously that you don't win big games against ranked opponents. But maybe you undid that now that you beat Arizona. But now you got to go to Tempe and win, and that's not going to be a cakewalk.
Right.
West Virginia at Iowa State, which is that's going to be a really tough game. And then you finish with Utah and Provo. So, one, you're not done by a stretch here. You got a long way to go. Relax. But 2, appreciate the guys who are on this team. Stop the obsession with Jimmer Fredette. He's not a BYU basketball player anymore. And you have a really good team. Focus on today's team. If you've been a long time on this show, you know that I continue to say this. The ridiculousness of BYU fans stroking themselves to Jimmer Fredette highlight tapes. You don't need anybody to earthquake your bed. Just put on a fucking Jimmer Fredette highlight tape, and you will have dudes plastering their ceilings at BYU.
Oh my God, just like that. Oh.
It's wild to me that you won't focus on current day BYU basketball without bringing up gifs of Jimmer Fredette. Get over it. Get over it.
Dude, you just said they're going to plaster their ceilings to a Jimmer Fredette tape, dude.
Tell me I'm wrong.
Me?
Am I wrong? Come on, man. What are we even talking about?
Dude.
Like, you're so focused on Jimmer. Do you understand that, as we talked about on the show, you dismantled Kansas. And furthermore, if you look at what BYU has done in the last 2 weeks, I mean, you've beaten Baylor, you've beaten Kansas, you've beaten Arizona on the road at McHale Center. Like, you look at this schedule since the turn of the year, really. You had that stretch where you lost with Arizona and Cincinnati. which was only outdone by the absolute ass kicking you took from Houston, Texas Tech, and TCU. But I feel like you've left a lot of that negativity in the past.
Yeah.
I think it's been a great 10-day run for BYU. And I think you will be ranked in the top 25. I think that's going to happen, especially if you run the table.
Yeah, I just think you've beat some pretty good nameplates here. You've got that national attention now.
Yeah, I am very curious where BYU gets seated in the tournament if they run the table and they have a good showing in Kansas City. Because that's a big question. Where are we going to find BYU in the NCAA tournament? So we'll see what happens. But the fact that Auburn's number one still pisses me off.
Yeah. But
you look at the Big Ten, it is wild to me what a year the Big Ten is having. It's incredible. The Kentucky is 17th and not having a good week. Anyway, don't get me started. Yeah. I could go on and on about how is St. Mary's not ranked in the top 25. I don't know, but we'll see. Tanner. Hello. Tanner, maybe Tanner doesn't want to show your comment. Aaron Wilson, look for me on TV, fellas. I'm in the lower bowl. Okay. I got tickets to today's Tech versus Houston game. We'll look for you. Tanner, cool when they get ranked today, but I care more about the net ranking because the committee cares more about it. Okay. Utah basketball showing signs of life this year. Well, the women's program continues to be stellar. Do you guys think that there's no way Kansas can still be in the top 25?
No.
Are you telling me, is the Big 12 still the best conference in the country? I don't think so.
I think you got to throw that to the SEC now, unfortunately.
I think you do.
Unfortunately.
And look at the run that Duke is on. Because Cooper Flagg, who's going to be a San Antonio Spur a year from now.
What are you going to say as a Jazz fan when you don't get Cooper Flagg?
Just keep winning games. Now, I like that you're tanking and everybody's all of a sudden got groin injuries. The Jazz have like half their roster not playing. This year, it's not. It's not what? One thing is for sure, BYU has to win win in the first round. Another failure to get into the second would be a terrible look. It is. But, Tanner, they also just destroyed Kansas. They're winning big games. Is that what I said? No, I said they haven't won big games. They have struggled, especially on the road, historically, but, it's fine. Soaking for Jimmer, easy. Not wrong, but easy. Yeah, BYU fans, I paid good money for this team, and you better appreciate it. That's what I'm saying. I just wish that BYU fan could move on from Jimmer. Appreciate him for what he is.
He had a good run. What about who's here now?
I think what Richie Saunders is doing is flying way under the radar. Big Papa War Machine. Baylor and Kansas being bad isn't good. It's a really bad for this conference. Still could win a natty, but it's looking bleak. It's not looking good for the Big 12. I would agree with that. Ed Enriquez, Big 12 definitely down this year. When was the last time Kansas was not ranked? And they're not good. Long time, bro. And they are not good. This year, the Big 12 is in the best basketball conference, close second. I think it's the SEC. Why wouldn't we tank? I don't have the balls to pay a superstar if we're lucky enough to draft one. Exactly.
Oh, man.
Why would we tank? Big 12 hasn't been the best conference for the past 2 seasons now. Oh, they were the best conference last year, in my opinion. I think it is the SEC. And I don't know how you explain just how good the SEC is this year. And I'll be interested to see, who does Duke finish with? At Miami, Florida State, Wake, and then, of course, Carolina on March 8th. I'll be really interested to see how the ACC and how Duke needs to run the table, because Carolina is just not very good this year. But you look at the SEC, and I am amazed. Well, Greg Sankey's the devil. Yeah, but his teams win. I mean, you look at the just absolute dominant performances and how many Auburn, Florida, Bama, Tennessee. Tennessee's legitimately good.
Right.
Texas A&M and Missouri. And I think Missouri is one of the 5 best teams in the country right now. All of them are 20-win teams. And then you have Ole Miss at 19 wins and Mississippi State at 19 wins, Kentucky and Vandy at 18 wins. That's depth in a conference. That is depth in a conference. And the question is, again, like football, how much damage will they do to each other? Because I think Auburn being 25-2 is wild. And then you start looking at the fact that they finish with Ole Miss on Wednesday, Kentucky on Saturday, at Kentucky, at Texas A&M, and then they finish with Bama. Like, that is a road grading schedule. You can't tell me that Auburn's going undefeated. Not with Kentucky and A&M on the road. That's I don't care who you are. That's going to be really
they didn't
tough.
Play good against Georgia over the weekend.
Tanner Plummer, Marty, did you see BYU Basketball's tweet having 2 pictures of Jimmer and Richie side by side? Because the comparison of histrionics at Arizona. That is, I just think it's sad that BYU fans have this weird obsession with one player in the history of the program. And I guess it's what BYU fans do in football as well. You know, like you want, Gary, not Jerry, instead of Jake Retzloff, which was one of the stupidest debates I've ever heard.
Well, that or like just not appreciating Jake because you've had a lot of good quarterbacks. Like,
Yeah, but you didn't want, okay. You never liked the starting quarterback at BYU. It's who you guys are. It's who BYU fans are. It's wild. I understand BYU as a program talking about 96 points at Arizona. It's historical.
Program.
Right? And when's the last time they scored 96 points at Arizona? When Jimmer was there. But BYU fan, you can have whoever score 50 points and you guys are like, hey, did you guys see that Jimmer switched from butt wipes to toilet paper?
Stay hard.
Hey, saw Jimmer. Did you guys see that he tied his shoes today? Hey, man, I don't know if you guys saw.
Hey, Monty.
I'm a little, I don't know how I'm going to get through the day with the knowledge that Jimmer got a haircut. And some of his DNA was left on the floor, and I don't know what to do about it. Like, that's the level of obsession that BYU fans have with Jimmer. Like, Jimmer goes to the grocery store should be leading the Daily Comment front page. Oh, wow. Jimmer Fredette eats J-Dogs. Breaking news, leading the newspaper, front page, and BYU TV has breaking news. Jimmer Fredette took a leak 5 minutes ago.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Richie who? That's what you do every time you bring up Jimmer Fredette when you have a BYU basketball team on a heater. Oh, Jimmer Fredette, what is this? Can you guys hey, guys. There's a question. Now, this is a question that I've been thinking about. I was playing church ball on that real thin no pad carpet, and I skinned my knee, and I thought to myself, guys. Jimmer skinned his knee at one point too. Am I not Jimmer now?
Here's the deal. I'm the best there is.
In ward ball, I'm the new Jimmer Fredette because I skinned my knee too.
You're last.
It happened. And here's the question. Guys. If we go back in the history of BYU basketball, Jimmer Fredette or AJ Demansa?
In my eyes, he's the greatest to ever do it.
Who was the better player at BYU, Jimmer Fredette or Danny Ainge when he was with the Celtics? I'm taking Jimmer. I think you guys know that. He skinned his knee. I skinned my knee. Guys. I'm taking Jimmer.
Pause, bro. Pause.
I am. It's happening.
Bro.
The eye patch. 20 years from now, Tanner will still be talking about Jimbo.
Right.
It got so bad several years ago, I refused to say Jimmer's name on this show.
Right.
And, it's fine. Tanner, on Instagram during the game, Jimmer was telling a story about how he dropped. Who gives a flying fuck,
bro?
Who cares? You're watching. This is exactly the problem, BYU fan, right here. Oh well, guys. This game in Arizona is off the chain, but I missed the end. Was it really a foul? Well, how did you miss the end of the game? Well, I was on Instagram, guys. I want you to know, I was on Instagram, and Jimmer was telling a story about how he took a dump this morning and
via social media.
He made the tough decision. And when we go to church on Sunday, I think I'm really hoping the message includes how Jimmer took a dump because he made the tough decision. And in life, our core values mean tough decisions where you switch from a butt wipe, no more dude wipes, we're going to paper towels. And he was telling that story on Instagram. It was riveting. I missed the N1 call because Jimmer took a dump. So let me get this right.
Yeah, that's stupid.
You're not watching the game because you're watching Jimmer on Instagram during the game.
Bro.
Help me. Marty, you have a strange hate for our love of Jimmer. No, it's not that you love Jimmer. You want to duct tape him to a post in your basement so you can go down in the morning and pet him on top of the head.
Let's ride.
The obsession that BYU fan has with Jimmer highlight tapes. Again, look at the ceiling. Those aren't stalactites on the ceiling, boys.
Biologics.
Man, is that popcorn ceiling you got going on there? No. Jimmer highlight tape.
Human or non-human?
Hey, do you guys like yogurt? Fuck yeah, Jimmer highlight tape.
You ought to know you bought it.
If it wasn't Instagram, Tanner was on Jimmer's OnlyFans page.
Oh, got it.
And tell me if Jimmer wasn't doing porn, the LDS church would be like, well, porn's fine. Whoever said porn was bad?
That's a requirement.
No caffeinated beverages. But dude, you want to watch Jimmer pound box?
My caffeine hit from Jimmer videos, man.
You want to watch Jimmer go deep? That's fine with us.
A lot.
Guys.
Hey, guys. Does anybody have an OnlyFans password for Jimmer's account they're willing to share?
I sifted through all that.
Bro.
Guys. So, listen. I went to the Marriott Center, and it's not Marriott Center. I got corrected on Twitter the other day. Because we live stream the show replay on my Twitter, and I got corrected on Twitter during the live stream. It's not Marriott Center.
Right.
No, friends, it's Marriott. The Marriott Center.
Gonzaga.
Guys, I was at the Marriott Center, because we married it there. Anyway, so guys, I was. Come on, man. David Humes. I've been a BYU fan for 40 years. I had to mute permanently the words Jimmer and Fredette on Twitter a few years ago because it's so ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's real.
I don't understand it. And I don't know why Tua's still your quarterback, David. LOL, good old Mad Marty. Yeah. But see, you take it as anger or mad. It's called entertainment value.
Right.
The Buffalo Hunter, Biologics.
Yeah, dude.
Biologics.
Aaron Wilson, turning into a classic episode of The Martin Show.
Biologics.
Exactly.
The Martin Show.
Joey B, LOL, OnlyFans account. Exactly. Boyd Lake, guys. I love watching Jimmer burying Utah from half court. That's a classic replay. Guys, let me tell you something.
Dude.
all the D pills on Instagram. The commercials now, like those. I don't even know what they're called. Mrs. Monty and I were sitting on our new couch from the largest bank in Utah that we bought. And I was flipping through Instagram, looking at the most popular fast food taco now. We're going to talk about that coming up. But anyway, my point is, all of the D pill ads on Instagram, am I the only one seeing that? Like, when did that start? Gonzaga.
Yeah, bro. It's the same thing. Marriott.
Gonzaga.
Damian Fowler, Jimmer who? Never heard of him.
Yeah, man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Buck snot on the ceiling is gross.
It is.
There you go. Midweek Coug almost just crashed hearing that's not a stalactite.
Biologics.
What's that on your ceiling? Well, this is a man cave. Juice. Guys. I went spelunking last week and found Jimmer.
Now?
I found Jimmer. Is that like finding God? Kinda. He is God.
You got to get stroked.
The eye patch. Speaking of Jimbo, is he playing ward ball 3-on-3 in China? That dude is one of the best 3-on-3 players in the world. Yeah. Unbelievable. Joey B, The Secret Lives of Mormon. Don't start with the Mormon Lives thing. Monty and Mrs. love that show. Does Mrs. Monty comment on their fashion choices too? She does. We don't watch it. In all seriousness, Richie Saunders is playing his way into the NBA. Not as much as Jimmer did. Okay. Marriott is the way to say it. This is still a hill to die on, just like Gonzaga.
Dude, I'm telling you, people have their preferences.
Gonzaga.
It's Marriott Center.
Gonzaga.
Which it's not.
I like Gonzaga.
This is like St. Louis Post-Dispatch. It's Dispatch. It's the Ohio State. Marriott Center.
Everybody is outraged.
Damian Fowler, we need guys, merchandise. We probably do. Should we call it Jimmergram? You could.
Right.
You could.
Jimmer fans?
Exactly. Exactly right. Sacramento Kings legend, Jimmer.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
First team all no defense.
I get the ED ads. I think it's because I bought bald head stuff. I'm telling you, just go to your doctor and get minoxidil low dose. Take it by pill form once a day. You're solved. You're welcome.
Yay!
Because it ain't nothing wrong with the hang down. Okay.
The hang down.
Okay.
Macaque.
Joey B. Where did this show go? New couch. Monty gonna have his own new OnlyFans account soon. I have a really nice new couch. Why is furniture? Everything is so expensive right now. It is so frustrating.
Not Jimmer tapes, though. Those are still at a good
No,
price.
those are free on YouTube.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So, listen, guys, here's a question. I'm asking because we talked about it, in my ward this week. We had a discussion on family home evening night. Everybody walked into my house, and I had the Jimmer on the big screen. And, all the dudes are like, let's take this into the garage, boys. They put a pizza down in the middle of the garage floor, and all of a sudden, we were in a circle, and there were Jimmer tapes playing, and I can't talk about what happened in the rest
Honestly,
of it.
I'd start stroking guys.
But if there's a Jimmer tape on, guys, if there's a Jimmer tape on for family home evening, is that cheating on your wife?
I think I've hit it every time.
Okay, well, where is he playing? It was a question. I have no idea where Jimmer is. I think he's just playing 3-on-3 now, isn't he?
Tanner, would you like to answer?
Tanner's a guy. Mad Marty, if Jimmer saved your life, would you love him then? What's Mad Marty about? I don't get it. Boyd Lake, I would be guys. I would buy Monty Show gear for guys. Maybe we do a t-shirt. David E. Persons. Oh, look, there goes the show heading south again. For the winter, it's cold.
Yeah, bro.
Bronco McFord. Pac-12 needs to add Tulane and Rice.
Dude.
Different day. I bet after TDS beat Arizona, TDS fans ran to YouTube to watch Jimbo videos. It's a weird obsession that I don't really understand. I don't really understand it. But that's just me.
Yeah.
Do you guys, in all seriousness, do you guys think now that, because Greg Popovich looks like he's out for the year, and Victor Wembanyama's out for the year with this deep vein thrombosis thing, which is different than
Stay hard.
Right.
Anyway, the point is, do you guys think that San Antonio should tank to get Cooper? And I say absolutely.
I would. What do you have to lose?
How are you not in the pooper for Cooper?
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, in the NBA, you're obviously in a lottery system. It's not like the NFL where you can just get the number one spot. But I mean, you absolutely have to do everything you can to be as bad as possible. 100%.
Yeah, and sadly, the Jazz are not close anymore to the bottom. But the Spurs are not close. The Spurs are 10 games. If I'm the San Antonio Spurs, I'm not winning another game the rest of the year. De'Aaron Fox tweaked his knee. He's got to be out for 10 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the bottom teams. What's Washington is like 9
Washington's
wins?
9.
Yeah.
And
I mean, even the Jazz are 10 games ahead of you in terms of lottery, with wins.
With the Spurs, yeah. Because you are Charlotte, the Jazz, and New Orleans at 14 and Washington at 9. Do you guys think that Cooper Flagg is a generational talent? Because this is being bandied about. I don't think it's even a question.
Yeah.
Cooper Flagg is everything that the NBA needs. 100%.
Yeah.
He's a great interview. He's a great talent. He's already marketable. He's got the New Balance deal and several others. Like, the kid if there are goods, he's got them.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's the guy that you should be in the pooper for. In the pooper for Cooper.
Yeah.
Like, get it done.
Capture the flag, bro.
Get it done. I think he is the guy that you have to do everything you can do to get him, because I think he's a generational talent. Jazz are still the third worst team, and Cooper Flagg is talking about coming back for a second year at Duke. I think that's what
he's talking about.
He has to say that, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Cooper Flagg is somebody who obviously wants to get into the best situation he can when he gets drafted, and Washington's not that situation.
No.
And, with all due respect, the Jazz are not that situation either, but
if Cooper Flagg were to wind up, where is his best spot? It's not Washington. Is it New Orleans?
New Orleans is not a bad spot.
It's not a good spot.
It seems like Zion is improving. He's, there are new reports out that
you just love the Zion
Williamson. It's the whole conversation. Thing. How do you not talk about it? Like, what else is there to talk about, bro?
He's played 20 games.
Great. That's 20 more than he played last year, man. Like, what else? Like, I'm being serious. What else is there to talk about with this team?
Nothing.
That's it.
And
Zion's
they shouldn't be talked about. They shouldn't be. They're terrible.
Yeah.
Should not talk about Zion Williamson. He is the largest bust in the history of the NBA draft at this point. I mean, with the hype, he won't stay in shape. He doesn't play hard all the time. And when he's on the floor, the problem is if you feed him the ball consistently, he puts up big numbers and then he gets hurt. He's a massive bust. A massive bust. And if you look at Charlotte, I don't know. Is Cooper Flagg playing with LaMelo Ball a good fit? Well, I would think so.
Yeah.
I would think so. Toronto, no. Philly, no. Brooklyn is interesting. Brooklyn never wins. And then there's Chicago Bulls, who he'll never go to. He winds up, in my opinion, in Philadelphia. If I had to guess, that's where the league will freeze the envelopes to put him in Philadelphia. who I think they're going to part ways with Joel Embiid this summer because he's hurt again.
Oh, and the Paul George thing's not working out either.
Oof.
And I don't know.
What a disaster
I just don't think Paul George is trying, to be honest with you. Like when you watch him play, it just doesn't look like he's giving it his all, honestly.
Yeah. Suns got drubbed by now 18-win Toronto yesterday. You figure it out. I look at the Suns and they're a 27-30 basketball team. And they gave up 127 points to Toronto.
Yeah.
And the biggest issue is, again, I continue to say, you're getting 3 guys playing 40 minutes. And one of those 3, Kevin Durant yesterday, 0 of 5 from 3, 15 points and -14.
Not playing well.
And just didn't defend.
Yeah.
And then you get Bradley Beal and Devin Booker combining for 61 points. 31 from Book, 30 from Beal. And somehow Devin Booker's their best defensive player right now. It's wild. The lack of production that they are getting from one of those 3 on a nightly basis. They're not. Do they make the playoffs?
I don't know. They're right on that line right now.
I don't think they make the playoffs. It is going to be very close. They are a game and a half behind Sacramento.
Yeah.
Who is going to make the playoffs. They're going to need somebody. And I don't know if anybody has been watching the Golden State Warriors. And I understand it's the Rockets, but that game was in Houston.
But the Rockets are not a bad team anymore.
The Rockets, Sacramento, and Dallas, they have looked significantly better against those 3 teams. Now, what happens, like Charlotte will be an interesting test tomorrow because, well, that game's at home. You'd expect them to win. Charlotte's good enough to beat you now.
Mm-hmm.
With the way Bridges and Ball are playing, Golden State's better. I think the Suns are out of the playoffs. And because I don't know, if you're not in the playoffs right now, I don't know who it's going to, because nobody is going to collapse to the tune of 5 games to get the Suns in. I just don't, bro, you've already played 57 games.
Yeah, run out of time.
You have 20-something games left.
Which by NBA standards is just not a lot.
So I think the Suns are going to miss the playoffs.
Yeah.
Sacramento, you mean one of the teams that Jimmer played for? Yes.
Don't you know who I am?
That's right. Delaric, what if he does decide to stay another year at Duke? That'd be shocking. Because it's very rare that you are the number 1 pick in the draft by a long shot. That money, those endorsements, that moment is very hard to come by. And if he stays healthy for the rest of the year, he'll be by far not close to number 1 pick in the draft. He's not going back.
Right.
He's not going back.
Why would you?
Not going back. And then there are, before we start talking tacos, just put it in your head right now. You're the best fast food tacos. Are the Lakers a legitimate threat to win an NBA championship? I don't know. Which Lakers are we getting? Because now they're becoming a dominant defensive team. What was my single biggest concern about trading Anthony Davis? Arguably the defensive player of the year.
Yeah.
And now they're far better because Dalton Knecht is playing more minutes. Austin Reeves, I think you're watching a young man flower into adulthood. Hi. You're watching Austin Reeves become a star in this league right before our eyes. And if Luka's going to be hitting step back threes from Watts, you're in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like against Denver, the thing was one, and now it came out, JJ talked about it, that allegedly he claims that he stayed up for 2 days preparing for this game. And it looked like it. It looked like they were prepared. And, the thing that really stood out to me was when you traded Anthony Davis, everyone's concern was you weren't going to have size in the middle. What they've done to compensate for that is they've said, okay, we're going to run out Jared Vanderbilt, Dorian Finney-Smith, and then one other guy, and they rotate guys. Sometimes it's Dalton Connect, other times, it's Gabe Vincent. Like, there are other guys that contribute. But basically what they did, and I thought it was brilliant, they essentially just said, hey, we're going to suffocate Jokic and make him move the ball. And then we're going to count on the rest of the team not making more than, I don't know the exact number, but a high enough percentage of threes that they would beat us. That was essentially their defensive strategy. Hey, because what Jokic likes to do, and we all know this, he likes to work off the elbow. Sometimes it's the block, but most times it's the elbow. And then they run all their sets through that. The problem was they were ball denying the hell out of Jokic and forcing Denver to take a bunch of shots they didn't want to take. And so then what happens is you're missing a lot of shots for Denver, which is turning into a bunch of transition points for the Lakers. And if it's not a transition point, it's a strong possession offensively, and you're controlling the game.
And who was your worst defender? Luka Doncic. But that game was at home, right? It was in LA. Oh, wait, no, it wasn't.
On the road.
It was in Denver. And Jamal Murray, he didn't make a thing. The Lakers lose this game if he just makes 1 3. Oh, wait, he was 6 of 11 from 3, and they still won the game. So we can sit here and story tell all these excuses about, well, there are no excuses. They went to Denver and they beat the Denver Nuggets. And they did it with really good defense. They did it with incredibly active reserve players. And they did it shooting 39% from 3.
Yeah.
And again, you only played LeBron James 33 minutes in that game.
And that's what you have to do. And I think that's been the challenge for the Lakers the last several years, is that they have not been able to get the contribution out of the bench that they needed to get, not just from a points perspective, but from a effort perspective. Because the other part of this game that I don't feel like enough people are talking about is that you didn't just beat them when the starters were in the game. You beat them when their bench was in the game. So you got, when the starters were in the game, you had your role players contributing at a high level. And again, in other areas besides scoring the basketball, that's what everyone wants to focus on. How can we score more? How can we score more? But the reality is if you hold the other team down, you don't need to score as much, and you can get away with some things. And that's where I think JJ Redick is really trying to get some gains and some traction with this team right now. And yes, it is really nice. It's nice to watch Luka, get a little bit more comfortable. He was back to screaming in the defender's face and making these threes and, like doing what he does. And that was nice to see. Now the
22 turnovers.
Yeah.
How many points do you think Denver gave up off of their 22 turnovers? How about 39 points on 22 turnovers? So I interrupt you to say, finish your point now.
Yeah, my point is that ultimately JJ Redick's getting more out of the back end of the roster, and they're forcing one of the best teams in the NBA to turn the basketball over.
And who helped them get here? The Utah Jazz. And
again,
Jared Vanderbilt, now healthy, doesn't have to score a single point. JJ talked about that too. I don't care if the guy takes a shot or not. Because what did he do? He pissed off Jokic, caused several turnovers.
Wrestled the ball away from Jamal Murray.
22 turnovers, and they gave up 39 points. And the Lakers only turned it over 9 times and gave up 11 points.
Yeah. Like, I'm just telling you guys, like, if that's the kind of play you're going to get on a more regular basis, the Lakers will be better. Here's the problem, though, and this is the part that, JJ is going to have to figure out when they get to the playoffs, is how does this translate to a 7-game series? Because, I'm watching Hoop over the weekend, and I don't care what anyone says. I still have Boston as the number 1 team in the Eastern Conference until someone unseats them. And I know it was the Knicks, and the Knicks are sloppy, and everyone criticizes
the Knicks are not good.
Knicks. The Knicks had that game in control in the second quarter, about, 8 minutes into the quarter. And then Boston just decided to start playing Boston basketball and pulled away from them and just took over the game. And so I like Cleveland a lot. I still think Boston's the best team out east. And in the West, I want the Lakers to be the best team, but they're going to have to show that they can get that level of effort on a night in and night out basis and really control teams. And that's where you start to ask, okay, can guys like Rui Hachimura, Gabe Vincent, DK4, can those guys contribute consistently enough for the Lakers to win? That's the challenge.
I think they can. And I think it's all about Luka Doncic, because if Luka plays well, and if everybody focuses on the 3-pointers, he's got to become the best mid-range player in the NBA again. And at one point he was, but I think he got so nailed to the floor by being too heavy and out of shape. And I think it makes it very difficult for him to be a dominant mid-range player. The thing you need to be a dominant mid-range player is either size, which he doesn't have, or lift, which he doesn't have, which is why in Dallas, he became so reliant on the 3-point shot.
I do think that they can get him into matchups, though, where he has size, because he is stronger than pretty much any guard that would switch to him.
I don't even disagree with that.
Yeah. So, I do think there's opportunity there.
Yeah. Brandon Butler, he's making $5 million a year in NIL. You mean in the pooper for Cooper? And has endorsements. He may be making more than he would on a rookie deal, but it's not the rookie deal. And I think a lot of people tend to conflate the two. You're not comparing his NIL income to his rookie deal income. What you're saying is, how long are you willing to defer a max contract? That's the question you have to ask, because you're not going to the NBA to make a rookie deal. You're going to the NBA to get that max contract. And all the 5th-year option contracts, look at Donovan Mitchell's, look at Zion Williamson, look at all of because what does the rookie extension get you? Eligible for a supermax a year earlier. So if you, and this is the kind of math you have to do. You're saying to yourself, with an expanding salary cap, you're pushing off the $50 million a year payday.
Right.
By not 1 year, but 3 years. If you continue to stay in college.
I just don't know why he would, based on what he did at the USA camp and how good he looked and just how good he's looked this year. And
how much he has developed his defensive ability.
I guess I just feel like he's one of these guys where we finally don't have to talk about, is he physically able to play in the league?
No.
He is able to play in the league. He's proven that. He's shown that. And now it's just a matter of, making sure that he's good with that decision. Because I would agree, if you're Cooper Flagg, your sole focus right now should be getting to that max extension as fast as possible.
Yeah.
Because then at that point, then you can say, okay, cool, we're good on money, we're set. Now I could just focus on being the best basketball player I can be, and whatever comes my way,
Because the minute he steps into the NBA, he will be on path to being the highest paid player ever.
Right. Yeah.
As soon as he steps into the NBA.
Well, that was the other thing I was going to say too about the rookie extensions. They're only going up in value. I mean, rookie extensions 10 years ago are not what they are today.
No,
obviously.
you're into the high 20s now.
Yeah.
On that 5th-year extension. You got to go a long way not to get that rookie extension. Lakers, not a threat this year, maybe next year, but I don't see it anytime soon. I think I couldn't disagree more. It's the defense is why they're a problem. It's not even the offense. They're resting LeBron, playing him.
Saying hey, they're playing this game from ahead. They're not chasing Denver here. They're up by 8, 9, 10 points at one point. They were controlling the game and just holding Denver off. And that to me was what was so impressive. When you watch a basketball game, who's the team that's playing the game from ahead most of the game? Well, that's the team that's controlling the game.
Yeah.
And to do that in Denver at altitude and everything, that was an impressive win. My point just is that if they can do that to Denver, now they as a team in their locker room and in their culture know that they're capable of that. What are they going to do to lesser opponents who aren't championship material like Denver is?
All right. Let's talk about butt wipes versus toilet paper. Because there are now significant new studies say that when you use moist, flushable dude wipes, you're actually doing harm to your third eye. Because most people don't gently swab the area to remove debris. Most people take their nail and they rake it through the mud. and it causes problems. It causes major problems. It causes bad things. And what the butt wipe is doing is removing important bacteria from the sphincter type reference areas and stuff.
Such as in like?
It's removing important bacteria and enzymes, because apparently some people put a finger in, and it upstairs, and you're wiping the stalactites off the cave,
bro.
Hugh Janus.
We are not efficient butt wipers, and so now people are the result of using moist flushable wipes on your butthole is cuts, scrapes, abrasions.
You're cutting your butthole by wiping it with a wipe. How does that happen, dude?
Because people wipe aggressively. You've never gone.
I've never cut my butthole with my fingernail because I wiped too aggressively.
But you're also a back to front guy, right? So, but anyway, my point is, you have, and you just don't know it. That's the thing that people don't realize. It leads to bad situations down there with popping veins and hemorrhoids. And so doctors say the only result here is the only outcome is stop using moist flushable wipes and use toilet paper or a bidet.
Butthole.
And really what they want you to do, that's the best drop ever. Really what they want you to do is use a bidet. And they say warm water is what you want, but that's more money. But warm water, and then dab the area.
Dab it.
With toilet paper. And I got to tell you, I'm a butt wiping mother.
Right.
I'm not getting off the moist flushable wipes. I am not. But I'm also not aggressive. I don't rake.
So we need to talk about this, though, really quick. What leads to you having to rake like this?
I don't know.
Oh, I do. A poor diet, dehydration, and not enough fiber.
Well, there is that.
That's what leads to it.
There is that.
Because when you're not just smoothly passing, right? When you're not just smoothly dropping, what does it lead to? A ton of effort on the front end, and then you go to clean it up, and it's not a good time.
Okay, here's another question, because I thought this was interesting. Do you get up and turn around and look?
Always.
Okay.
Because it's like a report. You got to know what's coming out.
Do you check the bowl before you sit down?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
I don't ever look in the toilet before I sit down.
I mean, it's just like, I guess I haven't thought about this a ton, but like the toilet seats in my house, like, are not like fully closed, like the top portion's up and the seat's down.
Yeah.
So like, it's just, there's not a lot to look at. It's just water in the bowl. But I mean, I don't know. What are you
hey, is there a bug or a snake or?
No, that didn't cross my mind.
If you're in one of the Pacific Rim countries, you're always checking that bowl. Right. If you're in New York City, they have a problem where rats are climbing through the sewer system. So,
well, if you live in an area, then you got to check it. But I do think, and people always say, oh, it's gross, don't do it. I think you always got to look. You always got to check and see what is it telling you.
No, Preston, no, don't start. Don't start,
dude. I know. See, I didn't want to get into this today, but this is also another conversation. I'm team lean, not team stand. Like I don't stand and do this. Like I'm not doing Pilates on the toilet. Like, come on, dude. Come on.
If you're team lean, aren't you doing Pilates on the toilet?
No, you're just leaning over. That's all.
No.
That's all.
No.
It's a simple technique.
I am the gentle wiper. I just give me the reach and
but see again, my point is you can do that because it's good quality, right?
I
like
eat a crap ton of fiber. Yeah.
So like you're not having issues. And this is what I tell people is like, hey, if you like, it's very clear. Your body does a great job at telling you what it doesn't have. So like if you're having to put a ton of effort, you should probably drink some more water, bro. Probably should hydrate a little bit, probably should eat some fiber, mix in some beans, mix in some whole grain toast, like how about some rice, like move some stuff along.
I'm really curious. I am really curious what people think. Do when you are done dropping the Browns off at the Super Bowl, the kids at the pool,
butthole.
And it would be ideal if afterward you just hopped in the shower, you got the body sprayer out, and we did what we did. Right? And I think, listen, if you're an adult, you should be body spraying your butthole every day with warm water.
Butthole.
You should. Every day I do it. I'm not ashamed of it.
Let's talk about the bidets for a second.
Yes.
So you actually have looked at the pricing for these different bidets. Like
It's not even the physical bidet that's the problem. It's the plumber to install it.
Mhm.
Because your toilet, I don't know how many people realize this, your toilet doesn't come with a hot water feed.
Yeah.
So if you want a hot water bidet, generally what they have to do is tap into your sink in your bathroom and run another hot water line to your toilet.
Yeah.
So that you can have hot water on your bidet. Because, well, the hot water goes on your butthole. It goes through your bidet. Anyway, the point is, you need to supply your bidet with hot water.
Right.
The bidet is $500-$600 bucks.
I can't imagine spraying the butthole with tap cold water in the middle of winter.
Bro, I ain't doing that.
I
ain't doing that.
Tell me, you
I
cannot
ain't doing
tell
that.
me you're not flinching a little bit off of that.
No,
Come
you're
on.
puckering,
dude. Like,
I'm
is
not-
there not anxiety about hitting the button?
I'm not putting ice water on my butthole. I'm not doing it. I'm sorry. I'm not doing it. I am not doing it. It deserves better than that. I am not doing it,
dude.
I'm not. We have massage in our showers.
What?
How much do you have to pay her? Anyway,
I really don't care if you think it's sus.
Sometimes a rewipe is warranted. Oh my! Now no.
Okay, what else we got?
No, fat Jesus. Oh boy. The gentle wipe is my next Halloween costume.
Wow, bro.
Wow. Tanner and the eye patch are going back and forth about Jimmer. You guys do you. And Donuts, squeeze the Charmin. My wife loves Charmin toilet paper. Loves it. Take a shower. I'm saying. Elaine Tran, I do. You got to spray it. You still don't spray it.
No, dude.
Every time you're in the shower, you got to
disgusting.
spray. No, it's not. Do I really have to explain this? Jimmer prefers cold bidets. I've heard that. TJ Beck, you can't put a price on the pleasant movement and a clean wipe. It makes for a good day. It does.
Okay. Quick
It
sidebar.
does.
Quick sidebar.
Yes.
Woj just tweeted from his account on Twitter. He is auctioning off the phone he used to drop all the Woj bombs. Would you do this? Bro, dude, use link to bid on my original multiple phones. Use this link to bid on my original iPhones, NBA draft credentials, dinner with me, and more to help the Bonnie's NIL collective. This is incredible.
No, the answer is no. I'm not buying Woj's phone. I'm not buying Woj. Yes, great point. Are they wiped? You're not funny. And I'm not going to say your name, but you're not funny.
Yeah, is there
are they wiped? Get it wiped, butt wiped.
It's like buttholes and cell phones.
Butthole.
Wiped.
Right.
It's fine. No, I'm not. Old Tatanka, how are you getting clean if you're puckering? That's why you need a warm water bidet.
You can't do a cold water bidet, bro.
No.
That doesn't work, man.
No. I'm compelled to buy that phone. Go for it.
Are you going to call Jimmer off that phone?
Go for it. And finally, where do you get the best fast food tacos? I'm really pissed about this. I'm telling you now. I am so upset. I was upset when we did this topic a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
And do you remember who was number one?
Mm.
Chipotle.
Really?
Chipotle tacos suck.
Yeah, they're terrible.
A year ago, Chipotle was voted the number one fast food taco.
Yeah, that's terrible.
According to Eat This, Not That, here are this year's rankings. Qdoba, number 8.
I don't think we have a Qdoba here, do we?
I'm telling you, if you have a chance to eat a Qdoba, do not pass. Number 7, Jack in the Box. Yes.
Yeah. Jack's tacos are bomb.
If you're eating fast food tacos, yes. Number 6, Del Taco.
Okay, now here's the deal with Del Taco. Flavors is pretty good, but their tacos do feel like very thrown together, messy kind of experience.
And then this is last year's rankings, by the way. And then last year, Taco Bell 3, Chronic Taco number 2.
I like Chronic Taco a lot.
And then Chipotle number 1.
Yeah.
Which you'll never get me to say that out loud. That is disgusting and horrendous. And I can only tell you that the best fast food tacos in the business, according to thetakeout.com for 2025, Jack in the Box 12.
That feels proper.
Taco John's, never had it. 11. Torchy's. Now, Torchy's is actually underrated. I think I've had Torchy's twice in my life. They're 10. Chronic Taco, 9.
Feels a little low, but okay.
Baja Fresh. Oh, man, I haven't had a Baja Fresh taco in wherever. 8. Taco Cabana, never had it.
Heard of it, though.
7. Taco Tico, never had it. 6. El Pollo Loco, 5. This is tragically low. I'm telling you, the Crazy Chicken is amazing. 4, Qdoba. And yes,
like Qdoba's queso is a thing.
But you have to get the queso.
Yeah.
Qdoba has the best queso you will ever have. Number 4. Number 3, Chipotle.
Okay, so they dropped.
How?
They dropped.
How? Like my wife will probably once a year. And my wife has some weird tics about herself. She likes cardio. That should probably tell you all you need to know.
Right.
She's a weirdo. She gets occasionally Chipotle tacos. I'll never understand it.
Uh-huh.
Number 2, Taco Bell. Nah, bruh.
No.
But what do you think is number 1?
What would be number 1? Cafe Rio?
No. The Double Del. Del
Really?
Taco. The number 1 fast food taco.
Let's go.
To which I say, absolutely right. Justice has been restored. Speaking of buttholes, even though Chipotle's still number 3, which is one of the biggest travesties in any fast food ranking.
Yeah.
Del Taco by far has the best fast food tacos. I don't even think it's close.
Okay.
I don't even think it's close. The Buffalo Hunter. Marty, there's a place called the Smoked Taco in Utah County. You got to try it. It's a mix of barbecue and tacos. It's incredible.
Sounds good.
Okay.
But barbecue in Utah is not a thing, remember?
No, that's only in Kansas City where the barbecue is vastly overrated.
Right.
It's way overrated. Smoke and Bones in Bountiful, Utah. The only barbecue you'll ever need. And donuts. My wife gets the You Build taco platter thing at Costco.
Okay, now that's good too. I actually really like that from Costco.
You know what my wife bought me? My wife actually unchained me from the post in our basement yesterday and allowed me to leave the house. And she took me to Costco.
This is fucking America.
And we got a Costco pot pie.
So good.
So good. So good. Elaine Tran, Del Taco sucks.
Okay. You've lost all credibility, dude.
You shut your mouth.
Yeah. As a Waco person, saying Del Taco sucks is
it's a little
insensitive, dude.
Welcome to the nightmare. Del Taco is opening up some 44 locations in Florida.
Dude.
Stay hard. Do it. Do it.
Now, I personally like their crunchy tacos more than the soft shell, but that's just my preference.
Yes, no doubt about it. Tanner says Del Taco is more gross than Taco Bell. I said it.
No.
Did Jimmer agree with you on that last night when you guys were spooning?
Yeah, when you went to the Spank Bank watching his videos. Come on.
Cafe Rio's okay. Cafe Rio's okay. It's really greasy.
Once in a while.
Mrs. Monty and I used to eat at Cafe Rio quite often, probably once a week. Not anymore. It's too greasy. Chipotle tacos choose violence on my brown eye every time. Makes me do man kegels while running to the toilet. Okay.
TJ, are you a wipe guy or a TP guy?
Okay. Elaine Tran, I'm in California. I never liked Del Taco. Jack in the Box is good. The Chronic Tacos.
Chronic Taco is awesome, dude.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Torchy's is here in Leander, Texas. Is the best there is. Torchy's is decent. I've had it. No, Kyle Visser, I'm not reading your comment. I'm not reading that comment out loud. I refuse. It's something that I've said I'm not going to do.
Yeah.
Energetic show this morning, boys. Appreciate it. As always, we are presented by The Advocates at theadvocates.com. Anywhere you are. Southern California, yes, hello. Vegas, yes, hello. Seattle, yes, hello. Phoenix, Arizona. No matter where you listen to the show, The Advocates are ready to serve you online. Theadvocates.com. Until tomorrow, say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.